Hello! Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 best 4-star characters in Genshin Impact. Sometimes I take a look at these 4-star characters and just wonder why they aren't 5 stars, because they're just so good. Before I get into the video, I would just like to let you know that these are just my opinions, and what I say doesn't mean it's 100% correct. I just feel that these are the top 5 best 4-star characters in the game. If you don't agree with them, or if you feel I should have replaced one of them with another, please just let me know in the comments down below, and make sure to be respectful. So since I hate long intros, and I know you probably do too, let's get straight into the video. So in first place, we've got the king of all 4 stars, the best of the best, Benny Boy. I think that we can all agree that Bennett should be in first place because he's just so good. He buffs your entire team so much and heals them a ton. When you use Bennett's burst, Fantastic Voyage, he places down a massive thumbs up. If the health of the on-field character is equal to or less than 70%, Bennett's burst will continuously heal them, but only until they reach 70% of their max HP. After they've reached 70% or higher of their max HP, they will gain an attack buff that is based on Bennett's base attack. So here's my Raiden before getting buffed by Bennett, and here's my Raiden after getting buffed by Bennett. And he's so easy to build. Slap on your highest base attack weapon, give him a lot of energy recharge and HP, give him 4-piece noblesse, and level up his burst. He doesn't ask for a lot, which is what makes him so good. A lot of things can change when you get his constellations. Like for example, his C1 can make it so that you get his attack buff no matter how high or low your HP is. This constellation is very obtainable because Bennett has been in so many banners. But for the sake of this video, we're going to be talking about all these 4-star characters at C0. Let's take a look at his teams. Bennett can fit into nearly every single team. He can find himself in a hyper carry team, a mono pyro team, a national team, and he can be his own team as well. Trust me, you'd be surprised. His luck might be awful, but he made his way to number 1 on this list. Anyway, let's move on to our second best 4-star, Xiangling. Xiangling is actually a free character that you get after reaching a certain stage in the abyss. But trust me, she might be free, but she can dish out so much damage for your team. She actually isn't as easy to build as Bennett, but she's fairly easy to build. Just slap energy recharge, crit rate, crit damage, or attack, or EM. Oh my gosh, Hoyoverse really made this girl free-to-play friendly. She also has a free broken weapon called the Catch. All you need to do is trade your mental sanity for some fish, and you have an amazing Xiangling. Pretty easy. Let's talk about her burst. Her burst is pretty simple. When you have her burst, simply just use it, and then you can just switch off her. It will continuously do pyro damage to surrounding enemies. This is good because the damage itself is pretty good. And if you're running melt teams, it's pretty easy to melt most of your hits with just her burst. But when you add her skill, Goba attack, she will throw down her cute pet Goba, who will shoot out pyro flames at enemies. And this with her burst makes it super easy to melt attacks. Speaking of melt, let's get into her best teams. You can run Xiangling in a lot of teams. She's really famous for national teams. The 2 examples can be Raiden National and Hu Tao National, or what people like to call it, Funeration. Oh my god, I have no idea. Funer something, because you know, Hu Tao works with death and... Anyway, Xiangling can fit into other teams like mono pyro teams, but you get the gist of it. One last plus for Xiangling is that she can cook. And I don't know about you, but I love food, especially fried chicken. The third best 4-star is Xingqiu. When I first started Genshin, I wanted him so bad, but he never actually came into my account until I got to pick him for free in an event, and I was genuinely so happy. His supportive capability is so good. Think of him like this, a 4-star Yellen. His burst is like Yellen's burst, but he summons out swords, and whenever your active character normal attacks, his burst will trigger, dealing a lot of hydro damage. And if it does a lot of hydro damage, it applies a lot of hydro. He applies so much off-field hydro that you can run him with pyro characters, allowing this to vaporize most of their hits. It can also be very helpful with bloom teams because of the amount of hydro he brings to the table. His skill makes him hit enemies with a hydro attack. It can also do a lot of damage with high investment. After doing his skill, it leaves hydro rain swords around the on-field character. These rain swords don't attack the enemy every normal attack like his burst, but his skill summons 3 to 4 rain swords, 3 at C0 and 4 at C1, and these rain swords give you damage resistance. When you get hit, you lose one of them, and every time you lose one, you heal for 6% of Xingqiu's max HP. This also procs when all of them are lost. His skill also leaves a hydro aura around you. I love this because when I play with Ayaka, all I need to do is use his skill and dash into the enemies and they're frozen. It's that simple. If you're a fan of playing Ayaka like me, this is pretty helpful. But the downside with this is that you need to come up close and personal. But that's not too hard, especially when your Ayaka is as strong as mine. I kinda told you guys his best teams without actually saying it, but you can run him with Bloom teams, National teams, Freeze teams, and Vaporize teams. Let's talk about the 4th best 4-star in the game, Sucrose. It actually took me a while to make this decision because we have other characters like Beidou and Fischl, but I had to pick Sucrose because she's an amazing support. Have you guys noticed that all the characters in this list are supports? It's almost as if Hoyo knows that in order to get a 4-star to be on this list, they must be a support. Speaking of supports, I would appreciate it if you could support my channel by liking this video and subscribing. And make sure to let me know down in the comments below if you agree with my list. Or you could say something like, L Monkey Man, Sucrose is the worst 4-star in the game, and now I'm going to make sure you get Chi-Chi every time you lose a 50-50. Anyway, Sucrose is an amazing character because she's just a 4-star Kazuha. Just slap EM and energy recharge on her. Her first passive makes it so that Sucrose gives 50 elemental mastery to whatever element she swirls. And her second passive makes her give her teammates more EM of an amount equal to 20% of her EM for 30 seconds. This lasts for 8 seconds and only procs when her skill or her burst hits an opponent. This is why getting a lot of EM on her is great. Her burst just sucks up enemies, and if it comes into contact with Hydro, Pyro, Cryo, or Electro, it will deal additional elemental damage of that type. Her skill is a mini version of her burst. It sucks enemies up, not as much as Kazuha, but a decent amount, and it cannot suck up large enemies. She brings a lot of support to the team, making her an amazing 4-star character. Let's get into our best teams. Okay, Sucrose can be run in a lot of teams, and in this video we have 2 different types of teams. First, we have the support teams. This is when you're using Sucrose as a support for the entire team. So Sucrose as a support for the entire team should be run with Sacrificial Fragments. Sacrificial Fragments gives her a lot of EM, and with a lot of EM comes a lot of supportive capability for the entire team. Keyword, entire. Sacrificial Fragment Sucrose can be run in basically any team that needs an Anemo support, like a Freeze team, where you can replace Kazuha with Sucrose. You could also use one of my favorite teams, a Taser team, that includes Sucrose as the main DPS, Beidou, Xiangling, and Fischl. Now for the second type of team comp. This is where you would switch to 3-link tails. These teams are hyper carry teams. You can have a main DPS like Raiden, use Bennett, Kujosara, and Sucrose. Now for the last must-have character, we have Kuki. I picked Kuki over Fischl because I feel like because Kuki applies a lot of Electro and is a healer, she's just more flexible in most teams. Her elemental skill drains a portion of Kuki's HP and heals the active character, dealing a little bit of electro damage that scales off her attack. It heals the active character based on her max HP. Her skill lasts for 12 seconds and has a 15-second cooldown, so you can cast it fairly easily and heal for a lot. Guys, she constantly applies electro and heals you while off field. She's just amazing. Her elemental burst does a lot of AoE electro hits, but it isn't going to be used that much. You're typically not going to use Kuki for damage. But if you want to do a lot of electro hits, just use it. It won't hurt. She can be run in a lot of teams. My favorite team to run her with is Tighnari, Nahida, Kuki, and Fischl, because it's so satisfying to play and does a lot of damage. You could play her in an aggravate team with someone like Sino, Kuki, Nahida, and Kazuha, a superconduct team with Ayaka, Rosaria, Kuki, and Kazuha, or Bennett, or any one of your choice. I wish I could add Fischl or Beidou, but I personally think these are the top 5 best 4-star characters. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm a small creator that just wants to entertain people. If you agree with my list, please let me know what you think in the comments below, and let me know what you agree with and what you don't. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.